2D delves in the dungeon. We're going dungeon diving with 4 Tier 4 heroes. Tune into my last episode where I explained all the rules and how most of the game works. I'm not going to go over all the abilities. I'm not going to go over how most of this stuff works. On this first turn, let me just refresh your memory by pointing out that our 4 tanky boys, they're all melee. I don't have any spellcasters. Might be a mistake. It's dark. They can't move. Their torch just went out, their last torch. They have 1 turn before dawn starts to illuminate the interior of the dungeon. I don't know how that works. I'm really not going to worry about it right now. Point being, on this first turn, whatever happens, they can't move because they don't want to blunder into a pit, and they have Bane on all of their checks. They have to roll 3 dice and drop the worst of them. I have randomized my initiative chits, and I am drawing them at random. Just take my word for it. 6, 2, 7, and 4 for the heroes. And then I have a 1, a 9, and for Mr. Water Elemental, an 8. So that is the order in which our boys are going to activate. Of course, the objective is to get the 3 treasure tokens however you need to off the table right here. Anywhere along this board edge. This is out into the nice, pleasant farmlands. But they got to get through these elementals who are pretty scary. As this is a solo game, let's talk about the AI. Since this is a solo war game, let's talk about the AI. Different monsters have different programs that they follow. All of my elementals are classed as champions. You also have fighters who just rush into combat, shooters who will always shoot first and take cover later. The general rule is when these guys were in a dark dungeon, if we had a light source, the bad guys would immediately move towards that light source. Now, I don't have one, and none of the monsters have line of sight to our heroes. So in retrospect, it turns out kind of feeling our way, creeping along in the dark may be of some benefit because our rock monster is only going to move in a random direction. He will go first, and I'm just going to roll a D8 effectively to find out what direction he moves. He's going to move southwest, and because he is the earth elemental, he can move 6 inches. So I'm going to have him move 6 inches while he can only move 3 before he hits the corner here. So that being the case, let's find out which way he slides along the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On a 4, 5, 6, he'll move 3 inches this way. And now, when the light source appears, he will be able to move. They're going to converge on that light source as soon as it shows up. Number 2 is going to be this guy. He can move. That is it's not our expert. That is our double knife, move 6 inches. So we will rush. Oh, we can't move on the first turn. We're just going to hunker down. I don't even need these. I just wanted to see what order to move my bad guys. Since it doesn't really matter, let's find out what direction he moves. And I think the answer there is, well, he's going to move a total of 12 inches. And so he moves to the south 1. And rather than just do all of this, I'm going to move him 6 out into the hall. He says, and eventually we're going to get to the point. So we're just going to stop him right there. And that's going to force us into melee. When we trigger our light source, bad things are going to happen. We do have this water elemental right down here that we need to address as well. He also will move in a random direction. Let's start him in the middle of the room just to give him more space to move. And the water elemental can move a total of 6 inches to the northwest, which is really bad. So he's going to wind up going up to here. And as we said, 3 inches to cross the water boundary, even for him. That's going to end the turn. And our hero now, our sword and board guy, is going to use his special ability. We have light, and we just shuffle our initiative chips and deal them out. Take my word for it. I wouldn't cheat you guys. I'm just going to start throwing them down. We'll do the bad guys first. 8, 9, and 10. Oh my goodness. You're just going to have to trust me, guys. How could I have predicted that? So 1, 5, 6, and 3. I do have, we got 7 on the board. I do have 7, 2, and 4. Doesn't really matter. Some special abilities let you mix, like trade figure initiatives, and some don't. Every figure has a 1-inch zone of control around him. That's this guy. So we're going to have to cut, if we want to cut past these guys. Oh my goodness. All 4 of our guys get to go. And I'm going to move them in order. And it's going to be 4 inches. And then this guy gets to move 6. He gets to move 5 and 7. So if we move our fighter type, he's got the thing. And you could spend an action. So he's going to move 4 inches and he's going to wind up right about here. You know, when their bases aren't glued, he's going to wind up right about here. You can move through your allies if you want to. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, this is what we're going to look like after movement. I want to get everybody moved so it's not quite so fiddly. This guy will, since he goes first, use one... Okay, that was terrible. Normally, you would have to do all of one figure's actions. Move, attack, all of that, and then move on to the next figure. But since I get to move all of my guys before the enemy gets to go, I just moved them. It's a little bit less fiddly. Should be a little clear what's going on. The sword and board guy has the first activation. He runs up. Just pretend that these 3 figures are back in the hallway. He's going to take a swing. Now, the rock guy has a base ability of 8. That means you need to roll an 8 or better to hit him. His dexterity is effectively 8. The sword and board guy has a +1 because of his strength. So I'm looking for a 7. With a result of a 6, that's going to be a miss. So that doesn't work. But the spear guy also gets an attack. So he runs up, and because he has a spear, he can attack at 1 inch away. And same thing. So we roll a 5. The spear guy has a strength of 3, which gives him a total of an 8. The magic spear does +3 damage, +1 for the special ability. So he will do 4 damage altogether to the Earth Elemental. That knocks the Earth Elemental down to just 11. Yeah, it's going to take a few... You're going to have to do better than that if you want to wipe these guys out. And unfortunately, now the Air Elemental gets to go, and the first creature on the turn will immediately move to the light. So he moves over to the sword guy and says, "Shasha," and does his monkey-style, air monkey kung fu attack. And the Air Elemental, oh, wait a minute, does he have a special ability? He can do Shearing Winds. Oh, that's a ranged attack at 24. So maybe what we do is we just bring him up and we can take a poke at the spear guy. That only affects 1 person. You can't fly. I don't think it... yeah, we definitely want to do that. Because that means that our guy is trying to do a dexterity check against a 9 or better. And it's going to be the spear guy. Trying to get a 9. Snake Eyes ain't going to do it. Even with his +1 dex, that 3 versus the 9 means he's going to take 6 points worth of damage. And our spear guy drops down to 23, just like that. I told you these guys were scary. The next thing we need to do is move our water elemental. And he's way back here out of the fight. I'm going to roll a d6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He goes back in there. It's only that first monster that runs to the light. So on a result of a 6, he's going to wander back into this hallway over here. I guess he's playing free safety on this one. The last guy to go is the rock monster, who will attack Mr. Sword and Board. It's off the table. It doesn't count. Snake Eyes for him. He's not going to do any damage. Initiative tokens are placed, and once again, our heroes mostly get to go first. Water guy down here with the 7. We'll drop the shaky cam. This isn't the Bourne identity. Since this guy gets to go first, I'm going to go ahead and race him around the corner. He can move a total of 7 inches. That's going to put him right over here in this doorway, which unfortunately for him does present line of sight to the water creature. So maybe we don't want to move that far. Maybe we just want to sidle on in here. We've got light spilling out. He is within 6 inches of the light source guy. Is it a little cheap not to do like shadows around the halls? Yeah, probably. Am I going to do it anyway? Oh yeah, you bet I am. Not only that, but my spear guy is going to approach, and we're going to get into a weird kind of distant battle over here. He's going to slide up, and he's going to take a whack at the air elemental. Now, the air elemental, remember we're at strength +3. The air elemental has a dexterity of 9. We're going to add 3 to this. We're going to get a total of 7, and we're going to do 0 blamage. Then this guy gets to move, and he doesn't have any treasure, but will run interference, I think. That guy can move a total of 6 inches. So we're going to bring him up in support of this guy. And on the next turn, we may use him to draw aggro. Siphon off the water elemental hiding down here. He's getting ready to charge in. You'll see him in just a moment. Maybe we can draw him off and sacrifice one of our guys to get at least one of these treasure tokens off. Stripey Rock from Temple of Doom, I guess. Number 5 is going to be the air elemental, who will use his blast attack. With a result of a 10, he is going to... Okay, you're always rolling for your figure. Makes it very easy. He rolls a 10. That's actually good for our figure, because with his dexterity bonus of 1, a total of 11 means he beat the dexterity score, and the air elemental does not do any damage. Now the water elemental decides to move, and we're going to roll a D... 1, 2, 3, and on a 4, 5, or 6, he moves back into the room where he is from. So on a 3, he's going to move up, and I'll measure 3 inches to here, and then 3 inches to this way, which means he can see the combat now, and he can join in this scrum. Alternatively, he can see down this hallway. That may be a problem for these guys, but that's for next turn. Right now, we've got our sword and board guy taking a chop at the earth elemental on a result of a 6 plus 1 for his strength. A 7 is not going to do it. He needs an 8 to hit. The air elemental will punch back, and with a result of a 9 on the hero's dexterity check, ain't nothing happens. This is not good for us. I mean, we'll take nothing, but ultimately, in the long run, we are the ones who are trying to get off the board. The longer this battle goes on, the more likely it is that a fire elemental shows up and makes us very, very sad. In fact, we have to roll that first. On a 1, 2, or a 3, an air elemental shows up. And we'll designate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, coming in either of these doors or the corner there. Rolling, and on a 3, the air elemental comes on over here. If we have to have one, this is where we want it. She will appear with an initiative marker of 7. Over here, we've got our Speedy Wheels gets the 1 again, but then it's going to be Rock Monster. Then we get to do some wheels. 5, 6, where's 6? And then 8, 9, 10. Number 1 is going to dash 7 inches towards the outlet. Looks like he's going to get off without too much difficulty. Then the rock monster makes his attack. Rolling high, our hero tries to dodge with a result of a 7. The sword and board... Oh, you know what I forgot, though? Hey, these guys didn't take that much damage. Did they? The earth elemental did 4 points of damage, but we have a damage reduction of 2. That means that our boy didn't take 6 points of damage. He took 4. So he's at 25 points. This guy here still has 25 hit points left. In this case, he attempted to make a save. He got a 7 with a dexterity of 8. That's going to do it. Rock Monster has a strength of 8. So that fight will continue another round. Then this guy gets to go, and I think we might want to go... Let's go help our boy out. Let's move the 6 inches to get into contact. And he is not... He's a fighter. Yeah, he is. He is. The guy with the treasure is our expert. He's not going to be disarming any traps this time. So you're going to have to tune in and see how we do traps later. See, there's how far away he is. He will be able to get off the table next turn. But for now, Mr. Number 4 is going to take a shot at him. And he will roll an 8 plus his strength of, 2 swords is strength of 1. So that is a result of a 9, which will do 1 point of damage. But he's got Mighty Attack for 2 points. He's going to do 4 points of damage altogether. And that's going to reduce the Earth Elemental down to 7 hit points. Then the Water Elemental will flush in. And now we're just going to go one-on-one. The Water Elemental forces a dex check. Our sword and board, our double knife wielder, he is going to be okay. And then the lady shows up. for our fire elemental, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to check. On a 1, 2, or 3, she'll head up to the scrum. On a 4, 5, or a 6, she senses what's going on, and she's going to try to head him off at the pass. And she's going to do that. So I'll measure her movement is 6 inches. So she's just going to race over there. And that means the air elemental makes a blast attack, which is successfully saved. Mr. Spear Guy is making a dex check, which he gets a really big hit. He has a strength of 3 when he's attacking with the spear. It's going to be a total result of, oh, you can't even see the 4, 13 against the air elemental's dexterity of 9. That does 4 points of damage, plus he has 2 extra damage, so that's 6 points of damage. The air elemental falls to 14. This is going to be a bit of a slog. The last guy to go is our sword and board fighter, who makes his direct attack. With a result of a 9, he's going to get a strength of 10, which does 2 points of damage. The magic knives do an extra 3 points of damage, so he does 5 altogether. And the rock monster will drop down to just 2. So he may not make it much longer. And that's going to end the turn. On a 1, 2, or a 3, the second fire monster comes on the board. He does. Second verse, same as the first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on a 3, I guess this is the fire locker. That's where he's going to appear. I'm going to do the same thing with this fire monster. On a 1, 2, 3, he will move up towards the combat. So he's going to move 6 inches in this direction, trying to get up to there. She is going to move 6 inches in that direction, and she's probably going to have to circle back around. But that might be an issue in later turns. Moving ahead, there's no one to worry about stopping him. As you can see, he's only 6 inches away. He's got a movement of 7. So I'm going to pull off my first victory point. We at least got one of the 3 striped rocks off the table. And that allows us to reset the camera up here and focus in on the action up here in this corner. Sword Guy. Sword Guy makes his attack with a result of an 11. That might kill the rock monster. 11 means 3 points of damage, plus the extra 3, that's 6 points of damage. The earth elemental crumbles to dust. And we'll take it. I'm going to pull this off just to remind myself that he doesn't get to go. But the water monster gets to make his attack, and he's going to attack both of these guys. They're going to have to make a dexterity attack. This is the drowning attack, which is, oh, you know, I think the punchy boy, oh, he wasn't doing earthquake. He was just punching. We're going to use the special ability on this water elemental. Let's see if we can get the colors a little brighter there. Oh, that looks so good. Man, I love the way this table looks. The water elemental waves his watery hand, and a wave of water washes over these guys. This is a drowning attack. You have to make a constitution save or take +3 damage. It's unsavable. It's not reduced. So for the first guy, he fails, and he fails big. He loses by 5. He needs to get that 8 or better. So he takes a total of 8 damage, and that's just a straight 8. Dual Knife Wielder goes from 22 down to just 14. Sword and Board Guy has to make the Constitution save. He misses by 1, which is going to do 4 points of damage that he can't save. And that takes him down to just 25. I think he's going to be okay, actually, now that I think about it. Mr. Number 7 is going to activate next. No, he's not. Oh, we did. Did we do the Air Elemental? Did Spear Guy do his save? I think he did. Mr. 7 goes next, and he's going to attack Water Guy. And with a 4, he's not going to do any good. Water Guy passes. Well, his strength is too light. Now Mr. Spear says, you know what? I think I can get 2 guys off this table. I'm going to go ahead and... How fast does Spear Guy run? The problem is Spear Guy only moves 5 inches. So if we move him over to here, he can get to right about there. And that's about it. So we're going to try to get 2 victory points out of this game. That's going to end the turn. I'm not going to roll for random creatures because I don't have any more figures. The last thing to show you is that she did move 10 inches down to the outside. Initiative markers are down. Looks a little something like this up here. We can come down here. Notice that this fire elemental continues to race upwards. He'll make it to right here. He goes first. She is also going to move 6 inches. And does she go? And she goes before this guy, which means she will be able to head him off at the pass. If we move her 6 inches to here, she'll be ready to block him whichever path he takes. I know that's a little out of sequence, but it'll make it easier to see what's going on up here. Sword guy takes another stab at the water monster. Gets a 4, nothing doing. What do we do with sword and board? He's pretty pokey, but I think we can race him out of the way. I'm going to bring him 5 inches over to here. And that's going to be it for him. We're leaving this guy behind. Sorry, man. Hate to break it to you. Spear guy, oh, he only moves 4 inches, by the way. He's going to fall back to right there. Spear guy then can move 5 inches down into the doorway of this room over here. And he's going to have to, unfortunately, that fire elemental is going to be able to stop him. So he stops right there. And then we have the last 2 figures to go on this turn are the water monster, who will use his special ability, and that will be a 6 for 2 points of damage plus the 3. Mr. Dual Wielding Swords is going to fall to just 9 hit points. He's not going to last long at that rate, particularly given that... Now, what does the Air Elemental guy do? Does he attack? He's going to... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who does he go for? 1, 2, 3. He's going to wheel up, and he's going to attack here. Forcing another save there. An 8 will be successful, but now there's no chance of him getting out of there. That will end the turn. And I'll reset the initiative markers. The sexy Ifrit is going to go on 7. The other fire elemental on 2. As you can see, our slow pokes are going to go a little bit quicker. The guy with the big heavy shield moves first. 4 inches takes him just to the entrance of this tiled room. Then the fire guy goes, and he's going to move 6 inches in this direction, heading for the guy with the sword of light. And that's number 2. For number 4, Water Monster forces a choking hazard onto this guy, who fails by 4 and takes 7 additional damage. He is now down to just 2. If he can survive the next couple of attacks, then he may be able to drink a healing potion this turn. This guy can move a total of 5 inches to the corner of the hallway over here. And then the air monster, air elemental, gets to attack. And with an 11, our hero will stand his ground. The Ifrit moves up, and she's going to fall just short of our spear guy, which is going to be a problem for her. And then the last thing to go is this guy will drink a healing potion, which will restore a grand total of 2 hit points, taking him up to 4. That might have been a mistake. We might have been better off, except that it does occupy these 2 monsters just long enough. Boy, things are falling apart here, man. The heroes are rolling okay, but the monsters are getting their peeps into position right where they want them. And of course, we probably made a mistake by giving our tokens to the slowest guy. We might have been better off giving it to this guy and using our spear fella as our roadblock. A quick look at our initiative. Looks like the water monster gets to make his wave attack, forcing a constitution save, which is successful for no damage. Then the air monster forces a defense check on the part of the guy with the knives. A 9 is another success. So these 2 guys are done. The good news for our spear guy is that he has 1 shot at making an attack where he doesn't have to worry about getting melted. With a 5, he's not going to do it. And then Miss Melty is going to race up, and she's going to attack him. Now, because she's already hitting him with fire, the 6 is going to be a successful save on his part. I think she's got a base of 7, and he has a dexterity bonus of 1. So 7v7, he takes no damage. But anyone attacking in melee must make that dex save or take unsavable damage. Now, he's not attacking. She uses her attacks It's kind of built into the nature of things. And then this slowpoke is going to go, he can only go 4 inches. So that's going to take him to about right here. And then, so that's number 7. Then we get to make an attack here on, let's fight the water monster. And with a result of a 7, 8, we'll do just like 2 points of damage. The guy with 2 knives does a bonus of 3 damage to the water elemental. No, we should fight the air elemental. The air elemental is hurting the most. He's going to do 3 points of damage to the air elemental. He just tied. But with a bonus of 3, that takes the air elemental to 11. And then the last thing to happen is this fire elemental does rush in and attack our guy with the big shield. The guy with the big shield rolls a 6 to try to avoid the damage. He has a dexterity of nothing. So he will take 2 points of damage. Plus, he takes the 3 points of damage for the burning hands for 5, reducing him to just 20. And I think we need to look at how the disengage rules work. Notice, Spear Guy can't disengage because he can't get around her. This guy can disengage, though, because if he can, then he can kind of keep hop, skipping, and jumping out of the way. And that's exactly what happens. We're going to deal with this side of the battle first, and then we'll look back up in the room where we've sacrificed our pawn. He wants to disengage. He's going to try to move 4 inches away. That entitles the fire monster to a free attack. So we have to make our dex check, and on a result of a 5, we're going to take 2 points of damage plus the 3. That knocks him down to 15. But he can move 4 inches on down the line as far away as possible. Of course, the fire monster will follow up, but she gets to do her dragon lady stunt on the guy with the spear. The guy with the spear rolls a 6. He's going to take, let's see, his dex is 1, so that's 7. So he takes 1 point of damage plus the 3 for the fire. The guy with the spear will be reduced to 21 hit points. And then he will get to, well, who goes next? So pull that. This fire monster is going to, what do? Do we want to, let's chuck a firebolt at this guy. The firebolts are kind of scary. 9 up versus dexterity. Instead of the 7 up, we're just going to start hucking fire. This does plus 3 damage. It's got 24-inch range. We get a 9 on our dodge. Does he have a dexterity of plus 1? Oh, 10, so he successfully dodges the firebolt. We'll take that. Of course, that's probably going to spell the doom for Mr. Spear Guy over here, who activates on the 7, and he's going to take a whack at the pretty lady, and he's going to miss badly. Now, because he did that, he has to pass a dexterity save of 9 up. He fails. And that means, ooh, I do not like this at all. Because he fails with a 9, with the result of a 7, his dexterity is, with Spear Guy, has a dexterity of 1. So that means he rolled an 8 versus the Fire Elemental's 9 dex. He takes 1 plus 3. He takes 4 more damage. And that's going to put him down to 17. Just chipping away at him. Meanwhile, the fight on this side of the board, not going a whole lot. Meanwhile, the fight on this side of the board, not going a whole lot better. Attacking the air elemental, we get an 8, which is just enough to do, we got 2 knife guy. I think he does just the base 3 points of damage. The air elemental is reduced to 8, but the air elemental gets to attack back with a successful save of, well, a failed save of 6. We take 5 points of damage. He only had 4 left. So he goes down, and we pull him from the table. And in a normal campaign, you would just roll for injuries afterward. But I'm trying to get at least 2 of these chips off the table. Because he died on the air elemental's attack, this guy is going to be able to follow up. And he's going to be able to move, 6 inches? So he can come down to right about here, and he can back up the fire elemental. Or either of these fire elementals, right? The air elemental gets the first action, and this could be a problem. He can move 12 inches. That's 4 to there. He's not affected by traps. You think blades are going to hurt an air elemental? and then 8 puts him here, and then 4 more. We're going to put him right there, kind of out of the line of fire. Because the next thing that happens is this hero is going to clamber over the debris pile, and he's only going to be able to move to right here. He is still on the doorstep of the dungeon, but he is going to be vulnerable to the next activation. Well, that's not the next activation, is it? Actually, she's the next activation over here. Fire Elemental takes a swing at him. His dexterity save is a 10, which is successful. But the next activation is our Firebolt. He'll move up to maintain line of sight, take another shot here, making a dex save, and 8 will be successful. I think we're going to get off with a partial victory on this one. Then this guy, which way do we want him to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. He's going to run over here and take a punch at the guy with the spear. Fighting for his life, he saves with a 9. And then he gets the last activation, still trying to wipe out the Fire Elemental with a result of a 9. Now the Fire Elemental, okay, first of all, let's see if he takes any damage. On a 6, he's going to take 1, 2, 3, 8 more damage. That's going to put him down to just, let's see, that's the spear guy. He was at 17. 8 damage puts him at 9. Yeah, he's almost dead. But he rolled a 9 when attacking the Fire Elemental, who has a base of 7, so that does 2 points of damage to her. Also, he does a total of 4. So he does 6 points of damage to her, but he takes damage in the interim, in the meanwhile, so it's really not working out so hot for him. I have already mixed up the initiative chits, so I'm not looking at them. I'm going to just place 1, 2, 3, and then I'll place 2 here, 2 and 6, and then this guy gets the 1, so he is going to be able to move 4 inches, and I think that's enough to get him off the table. Boy, it sure is. If we swing around, there's your 4 inches, so we got 2 off, and I think that's really going to be the end of the scenario. 2 successfully guys get off. This guy, I mean, by the time these last 2 enemies whirl around to get in gear and get with him, it's 4 on 1. He's going to fall to a combination of, well, not earth, but he's wind, fire, and water. He's just doomed. So we can roll to find out what happens to him after the battle. And we'll roll for our 2-sword guy as well. I pulled the green off because we didn't get the loot. We roll a simple d6, 66. With a result of a 22, we're rolling for spear guy first. We get lasting injuries, permanently lose 3 health, cannot drop below 1. So instead of starting the next battle with 29, we'll start with 26. You're not actually dead if you fall. I like that because it's how you keep the thing going. Unless you roll really poorly, like a 13, then you are dead, dead, dead. But we rolled a 25, 1 less life, survive unharmed, but permanently subtract 1 fate point from your total. Oh, I forgot to roll my fate points during the game. That's all right. Might have been a little cheap leaving the fire monster back, throwing bolts at this guy, but if he had hit a couple of times, it would have burned our guy to a cinder. He was on his last legs anyway. We're going to call this a minor victory because we got 2 out of the 3 off, but we had to kind of massage things to get there, and that gives us our 2 quest points, which really probably isn't enough. This was probably a minor loss on our guy's part, but hey, nobody died. Got to take that. So that's what high-level play looks like. In this battle, it turned into a bit of a dice-off because when you've got these narrow corridors, you tend to get stuck in these melee slogs. But that's all right. Makes for a welcome change of pace. Not too much moving, just enough. What a sweet spot of a game 2d6 Delves is. It works well at high levels. I think our experiment was a success. And I sure am glad you watched me put the data together and run that experiment. Tune in next time. I don't know what we're doing, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Till then, I'm praying for you.